Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Bangap from Hanoi, and now the headlines as usual. Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc meets foreign leaders in Sochi. Island and mountainous localities hold early elections. Hanoi lures visitors with new tourism products. Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc has been in Sochi to attend the commemorative summit in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the ASEAN-Russia dialogue relationship. We have more in the following report. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc met with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Prime Minister briefed the host about the socio-economic situation in Vietnam, as well as the outcome of the 12th National Party Congress. He pledged the Vietnam leadership will proactively work to enhance the traditional friendship and comprehensive strategic partnership between two countries in a pragmatic and effective manner. President Putin congratulated his guest on his new post, while hailing the role of Vietnam in Southeast Asia and confirming that Vietnam is one of the external priorities of Russia in the Asia-Pacific. The two leaders agreed to strengthen coordination to implement effectively key collaborative projects and programs, especially in trade exchange, oil and gas, nuclear power, and tourism, to lay a foundation for the expansion of bilateral affiliation into other fields. Prime Minister Phúc said, Vietnam is willing to serve as a bridge to help Russian enterprises expand operation in Southeast Asian markets and ASEAN. Touching upon the recent developments in the East Sea, President Putin reiterated Russia's standpoint of resolving any disputes by peaceful means and in respect of international law.
On the same day, Prime Minister Nguyễn Phúc met with his Cambodian counterpart Hun Sen. The two leaders confirmed the priority to strengthen the Vietnam-Cambodia good neighborliness, traditional friendship, and multidimensional long-term cooperation. They appreciated existing collaborative mechanisms, agreeing to instruct the two countries' ministries and localities to effectively carry out the side agreements to further bilateral ties, particularly in trade, investment, and tourism. They stressed the importance of further efforts to address issues related to land border delimitation and border marker planting, and the legal status for Vietnamese people in Cambodia, and to settle difficulties in policies and administrative procedures for Vietnamese investors in the country. During the meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, both Phúc and Widodo expressed their delight at the development of the Vietnam-Indonesia strategic partnership. They said the two nations should strive for $18 billion in two-way trade in 2018 and speed up negotiations on the demarcation of the exclusive economic zone. They stressed the need to maintain the central role of ASEAN in major issues relating to security and interests of each country and the region. They affirmed the importance of ensuring peace, stability, and aviation and maritime security, safety, and freedom in this sea, handling sea disputes based on international law, implementing the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, and working towards the formation of a code of conduct in the East Sea. The Vietnamese government leader and Myanmar President Tin Kiau shared their hopes for more efforts to deepen the two countries' relations, especially in investment and trade. Myanmar President Tin Kiau stated his government will soon consider Prime Minister Phúc proposals related to the facilitation of Vietnamese enterprises' operations in the country. He expressed his hope Vietnam would share its experience in agricultural production, especially in coffee and pepper cultivation and processing. The two leaders stressed the necessity to intensify the exchange of all-level delegations, tighten coordination at regional and international forums, and boost the central role of ASEAN in issues involved in security and the region's common interests.
Cultural and arts ministers and officials from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the Russian Federation identified priorities in cultural cooperation between the two sides during their first meeting in Sochi on May 19th.
The event was held as part of the 20th anniversary of the ASEAN-Russia Commemorative Summit. They issued a joint statement stressing the importance of boosting cooperation and encouraging exchanges of youth, music, stage, fine art, applied art, the movie industry, and tourism promotion. The statement also underlined the need to create linkages in preservation, protection, renovation, and use of relic sites, cultural heritages, and many other cultural fields. On the sidelines of the summit, a cultural festival was held featuring the performances of troops from Russia and the 10 ASEAN member states, with Vietnam staging traditional dance and music. Vietnam also held an exhibition introducing the country through photos, handicrafts, and musical instruments.
Now moving to other important news. Voters in several island and mountainous localities across the country cast their ballots on May 20th to elect deputies to the 14th National Assembly and People's Councils at all levels for the 2016 to 2021 term. 2 days ahead of the official polling date.
In Lý Sơn Island District of Central Quảng Ngãi Province, more than 300 officers and soldiers from 7 armed force units went to the polls early. Among the voters are young soldiers who are gone to the polls for the first time. Many of them expressed their excitement and honor to vote for the deputies.
I feel so excited because this is the first time I have gone to the polls. Through my ballots, I want to choose those who have good morals and qualifications to serve the country.
Lý Sơn District has more than 16,640 voters who will cast their ballots at 22 polling stations. The same day, over 2,000 constituents of Infantry Regiment No. 95, stationed in Buôn Hồ Town, Central Highlands, Đắk Lắk Province, also went to the polls.
Our unit has prepared carefully for the election. Today, all voters in our unit cast their ballots. After accomplishing their citizen rights, officers and soldiers will be sent to localities to ensure security for the election.
Right from 7 a.m., all officers and soldiers gathered at the regiment's meeting hall to read records of candidates again and then cast their ballots to select the most appropriate deputies. Also on May 20th, more than 28,500 voters in 34 underprivileged communes in the mountainous districts of Tương Dương, Quế Phong, Kỳ Sơn and Con Cuông of Central Nghệ An Province exercised their right to vote. By May 20th, preparations for the election have been accomplished in all provinces and cities nationwide. More than 69 million voters will elect 500 deputies out of 870 candidates for the 14th National Assembly. They will also vote for 322,966 deputies among 545,617 candidates for People's Councils at all levels.
2 Vietnamese nominations have been named as documentary heritage by the memory of the World Committee for Asia and the Pacific. Now let's take a look.
The Royal Literature on Huế Royal Architecture and Phúc Giang School woodblocks were awarded the title during the memory of the World Committee for Asia and the Pacific General Meeting in the Central Province of Thừa Thiên Huế from May 18 to 21st. They were among 16 nominations from 10 Asian countries. The Royal Literature on Huế Royal Architecture is heritage that reflects the perspectives of kings of the Nguyen dynasty that reigned from 1802 to 1945 on the country's history and culture and their method for ruling a nation. It features poetry and literacy with varying form of expressions in terms of materials and motifs placed in different places in royal buildings. They were carved and inlaid into wood, lacquered, and then plated with gold. They also appear on ceramic objects. The Phúc Giang School woodblocks, which date back in 1858, comprise of 379 blocks produced to print textbooks. The 2-century-year-old set of woodblocks is heritage of the Nguyễn Huy family in the central province of Hà Tĩnh that has been preserved by the family's descendants. They are the only ancient woodblocks created by a family for education preserved today in Vietnam.
Several domestic commercial banks have cut their lending interest rates on the recommendation of the State Bank of Vietnam. More details coming up next.
The Bank for Foreign Trade of Vietnam, Vietcombank, says its rates for medium and long-term loans at 10% a year, down from 10.5%. The bank also earmarked 300 billion dong, equivalent to $13.4 million, to lend for companies for expansion. Vietcombank said this package was made possible by its cut in operational costs, strong risk management, and maximized efficiency. The Bank for Investment and Development of Vietnam, BIDV, has also reduced its short-term rates by 0.5% for selected borrowers. Medium and long-term loans for manufacturing and business can now be obtained at less than 10% interest, down from the previous 10 to 11%. The Industrial and Commercial Bank of Vietnam, Vietnam Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, Saigon Hanoi Bank, and many others have since followed suit.
A study has been submitted to the Ministry of Transport on the construction of an international terminal at the Cam Ranh International Airport in the central province of Khánh Hòa.
The project, with a total investment capital of nearly $152 million, was designed to receive 4 million passengers per year. The capacity would be increased to 6 million passengers in 2030 to meet the increase in passengers to Nha Trang City. As scheduled, the project would be completed and be put into operation in December 2017. Currently, the international terminal of the airport has a capacity of 1.5 million passengers annually. In the past several years, the number of passengers has increased remarkably between 30 and 60% per year. By the end of last year, the airport welcomes more than 2.7 million passengers, overloading its capacity.
Hanoi has been promoting new tourism products to lure more domestic and foreign visitors, affirming its position as a tourism center of the country.
Basing on local potential and advantages, the city has planned 5 key tourism routes. Those include the Old Quarter, Hoàn Kiếm Lake, the area around the West Lake, and the political center in Ba Dinh District, in combination with the ancient Thăng Long Citadel and the Temple of Literature. The 5th key route covers Ba Vi area with Đường Lâm Ancient Village, many eco-resorts and traditional craft villages such as Vạn Phúc silk making and Bát Tràng ceramics. Attracting investments for the tourism sector is also among the city's top priority. The city is calling on strategic investors to develop tourism in areas around the West Lake and the Red River, as well as build a special tourism site in outlying districts. This year, several special tourism products have been launched, with some of them to become annual events, such as the Ký ức Hà Nội or Memories of Hanoi, Hanoi Traditional Craft Festival, and Outside Festival. Hanoi was listed by the Lonely Planet in the top 10 best value destinations in 2016. The city was also named among the top 5 best cities for low-budget vacations in 2015 by Dr. Prem, a renowned travel and tourism website.
And that has to wrap up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.